Hello everybody, I'm Tyler Ellison, and today I'm going to talk to you about something I guarantee you've probably experienced, and I only say that because I know I've gone through it numerous times being an individual raised in America. Food cravings are one of the biggest unnecessary things that interact with your awareness, or at least my own awareness, and did for a very long period of time. I would be stressed dealing with something I didn't necessarily, enjoy dealing with, and to ease that load, to ease that stress, I would reach out to whatever food I felt I was craving. It would be different at different times. Sometimes it would be sugary foods, sweet foods like honey or fruit or even agave or maple syrup. Pretty just pure sugar things. Sometimes I'd be craving things like chocolate. Dark chocolate, or sometimes I'd even be craving things like just breads, gluten, really gluten-dense things. I'd be craving that. And other times, ironically, I'd be craving chips, salty things. And for me, my cravings normally revolved around the sweeter side, but sometimes I would typically crave these other things, especially breads and especially salty things. So what's going on when we are craving, when we're having these food cravings? Well, it turns out most people, especially researchers and sources on the web, don't know. Plain and simple, people don't really know why we crave food. No one seems to really know. However, amongst all this uncertainty about why this is happening, there are a lot of holistic alternative practitioners out there that have done their own research and have literally begun to deduct reasons as to why we have these food cravings. And they're very specific to each individual flavor and each substance. So, first and foremost, what I'm going to get into before I talk about, how to remove these things. Our body typically reaches out for things to de-stress us based on something we're buying into. We have a belief system about something we're dealing with that we deem unpleasurable. So to help navigate around this situation, we reach out to something because we have a belief system that food, that substance is going to serve us positively. That somehow by eating this food, we are going to miraculously solve this problem at hand or this stressing situation. Now, whether or not this is true really depends on you, I guess. But what I do want to say is this. You can solve these problems, you can get around these stressing issues without having to reach for that food you're craving. And that is what we're going to talk about. Because once you remove the craving, all you have left is the situation, if that's something you're going through. Sometimes people, crave things in times of stress. Other times, they simply just crave things. I'm speaking about, we're craving them because of this situation or because of this stressful happening or phenomena or because I had such a rough day at work or all this different stuff. But I mean, honestly, some people just crave things because they crave things. So let's start at square one. For myself, my favorite comfort food of all time was dark chocolate. I'd eat it all the time. Once a day, I'd have a dark chocolate bar. I'd be doing homework, chemistry homework or something, and I would literally just be like, oh man, this homework's pretty tough. I should go get a dark chocolate bar because for some reason that's going to make this homework not as tough. So every day, for about a month long, I went and got a dark chocolate bar. Sometimes I'd go and get vegan ice cream, very high in sugar, very high in chocolate. And typically, I did this like all the time, really. It got to a very crazy point. So what I did was some research into why we crave chocolate when that's one of our cravings. And typically, craving chocolate, believe it or not, many people are theorizing that it is actually our body's way of telling us it requires more magnesium. It needs more of the mineral magnesium. And it's asking you for that when you're craving chocolate. Now, whether or not that's true, I have something interesting to report. I bought a while ago a magnesium concentrate. It was a little jar, little canister of magnesium, water really, 99.9% magnesium. And what I did was, literally, I just took that and put it into my drinking water and just sipped on the water all day. And Instantly, I kid you not, instantly, I have stopped craving chocolate. 100%. I was like 5 days ago. I was getting bark thins around this time at night because I was just like, oh man, I need chocolate. I'd go out and do it. I've been drinking this magnesium water. My chocolate cravings have literally gone away instantly. So, if you're craving chocolate, I would highly recommend trying some magnesium. Now, I know we don't all have magnesium concentrate sitting around, so what you can do is eat foods that are rich in magnesium when you're craving chocolate. It may not be the most exciting option, but what you can do is snack on them throughout the day so that way the craving doesn't appear mysteriously. So foods that are rich in magnesium, we typically have avocados, bananas, ironically dark chocolate, but I would recommend raw chocolate, unprocessed with heat, no sugar in it either. And the idea behind eating this is that it's rich in magnesium, but without the sugar, without the processed garbage. Some other things you can particularly eat are dark leafy greens, as these are also very high in magnesium. Hemp seeds, high in magnesium. So really try implementing magnesium into your diet to really stop chocolate cravings. That would be my first recommendation for you. Now, let's talk about sugar. Because sugar is something I think we can all relate to. I know for me, I would eat jars of raw honey in about 4 days. They're meant to last about 2 weeks to a month. I'd eat it in 4 days. My body was just fiending for sugar. I would drink agave. I was crazy. As a kid, I'd eat sugar packets in restaurants. I was a sugar fiend. So what is it? Why does our body crave sugar? Well, nobody really knows. I mean, we all know sugar is addicting, and according to studies, has the same effect as cocaine on the brain. But why is this happening? Well, one prominent doctor who I aspire and very much respect is a man by the name of Robert Kursar, and what he theorizes, and there is truth in this, that we have within our guts, we have parasites, intestinal worms, and what these worms do is actually help us break down sugar. They help the body in this digestive process. Thing is, though, if you're not feeding the body sugar, these things get hungry. And when the parasites get hungry, according to this theory, it triggers you into wanting to eat sugar because they are harmonious with you in that regard, that they're living in your system. So you're not actually wanting the sugar, you're having, a consciousness within you say, please feed me, I live here too. So, and whether or not this is true, this solution works. What Rob Cassar recommended was taking cayenne pepper, powdered cayenne pepper, powdering your drinking water with this pepper, and sipping on that whenever you have a craving for sugar. And what I found was it removes the craving instantly, goes away. Now, obviously, his idea behind this is you're feeding these things something. They're like, what the hell? Why are you giving me spice? I want sugar. And it's pretty much, sending them away, really, is according to that idea. Whether or not that's the case, I do know this literally repels sugar cravings. It's insane. Now, something else I do want to talk about now, because this was the other one I was very much struggling with, and this was a craving for breads, gluten-rich things, carbohydrates, very refined carbohydrates. I was all about that for a long time. Typically, based off my research, and as I was saying, parasites aren't the only thing that live in our intestines. We also have bacteria, we also have funguses, we also have candida and yeast growing within our digestive system. We are literally, a compilation of different organisms making up this bodysuit. There's a lot going into this. And these are some of the things that make up your digestion, your GI tract, really. And typically what this means is when a person's craving these gluten-rich things, these heavy carbohydrates, typically what most of the research is pointing to is that there's actually an overgrowth issue with some of this candida, some of this yeast, some of these funguses. It's really what it's saying. Now, it's saying that these things are, for whatever reason, are literally drawing that craving into you. And what I can say is, as I began to implement things that were, really antifungals in terms of plants I was eating, probiotic based, and intestinal system, digestive system cleansing foods and supplements and drinks, really, these cravings went away. And it was something that happened so smoothly that I didn't even notice it until about 6 months later, when I was like, wow, I don't crave bread anymore. Now, the idea is this: there's an overgrowth of candida, fungus, yeast, and that's what's causing the gluten cravings. Typically, those components of the digestional tract are in harmony with your gut bacteria. If those things are overgrown, that typically means your gut bacteria is weak. And if your gut bacteria is weak, your immune system is weak, and that's an issue. So the idea here is this: consume foods on a regular basis that are good for your gut bacteria and for the health of your digestive system. And this will, if you're suffering from these carbohydrate cravings, like I was, this will remove them, and that I assure you. So we're talking here for gut health. Aloe vera juice. It's a leaf. It was used in Egypt for thousands of years. Highly anti-inflammatory, highly soothing for the GI tract. Very good for the gut bacteria growth. Consuming that juice is one thing you can do. We also have raw apple cider vinegar. Very good for gut health. We also have, for those that can handle this, low heat pasteurized milk, or cream line milk, as this has bacteria and enzymes that are good for gut health. We also have kefir, which is loaded with probiotics. And these are just some of the things out there. For those of you that are a fan, kombucha, great for gut health. So these will help to not only repel the overgrowth of candida, yeast, and funguses, but it's going to help your bacteria grow, and it's going to cultivate an environment for them where they start to flourish and can retake, the system down there, and help yourself and stay healthy. And something else you can do if you do have an issue like that, there are herbals you can take out there. There's a great herb. I recommend it. It's been shown, especially in the 60s, it was being studied as a cancer fighter, although ironically the funding got pooled, but it's been used in South America for cancer for a very long time. And that's called pau d'arco, and it's a South American herb. It comes from the bark of a tree, and you brew it into a tea. You have to heat it, and you just sip on this tea. And literally, antifungal, antimicrobial in terms of bad bacteria, really, for the body, and an antiviral as well. It's also immune system stimulating. This tea will literally help you with the things that are living in your gut if they have gotten out of hand. It's a super great herb. Obviously, research it. You want to make sure you don't have any medical interactions with it, but it will work very easily. So if you are experiencing some of these things, like some of these gluten-based cravings, this right here, I swear by it. It will work. Worked wonders for me. Last craving subject I'll talk about is, let's say you're craving potato chips, salty foods, particularly salty foods here. Typically, what the research is pointing to is that when you're craving salty foods, you're dehydrated. You don't have enough water in your system, and your body's asking for water, and it's coming to you in the form of, I need salts. I need to rehydrate myself. It's asking for water. It's asking for electrolytes. It's asking for these minerals. And your mind interprets it, based on the research, as I need salts. Being dehydrated is something I would definitely propose is happening to about 80% of Americans all the time. Everyone's so busy. No one's, drinking water as the system needs it. Even right now, I'm thirsty as I'm talking to you. And if I'm thirsty, that's my body's way of saying, dude, you're dehydrated. If you're thirsty, you need water. It's your body's main way of saying, dude, I need more water for what I'm doing. I can't keep going like this. So if you're thirsty, drink water. If you are craving salts, drink water. I promise you, these things will work. They worked well for me. Obviously, too, one of the best ways to get started on addressing these cravings is removing these things from your diet, and as the cravings come up, use these alternative solutions I've given to you. They will 100% work. And what's going to happen too is, if these are because of stress, these cravings, if you're not reaching out for a made up and imaginary solution that doesn't actually solve your problem, if you cut that out of the equation, you're left with the situation. But you're left with it in a way where you're not saying, I need to run and go and get this to make me feel better. You're able to take all of that energy, all of that fear really, that you would be using in a way to go grab something and, soothe yourself. You can take all of that energy and use it in a constructive way to assess your situation and to change it for the better. You have all that energy that could have been going, to a food craving that is now readily available in the moment to navigate through your issue or whatever it is you may be dealing with. So I hope this was good for you guys. I know food cravings can be crazy for some people. They were for me. And as of right now, they are no longer a part of my experience at all. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope this was helpful to some of you. I'm Tyler Ellison. Love you all. Take care.